We're at ISS Long Beach 2019, California. Beautiful weather, slightly chilly though. Maybe that's because the sun's going down. But we actually found a Chicago shop. We're from Chicago. Now, this is Lucas, this is Joe. They're from Rowboat Creative.
Yeah, hello.
Thanks for taking some time out to chat with us, guys.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks
So first of all, Rowboat Creative, just like explain what you guys are first.
A magic shop.
We can start with what we aren't, because we pretty much do a little bit of everything. Got dye sublimation, screen printing, embroidery, direct-to-garment, fulfillment, alterations, you name it.
And you guys have really focused on trying to be, I feel like, more of an agency type instead of a print shop, right? Or like,
it's got like the agency feel, but we don't want that
label.
Like, right, exactly.
Okay.
So, I mean, we get all the crazy asks from everybody that is, all the facilities are like, we don't want to do that. We want to do a 10 by 10 print and keep it as simple and as efficient as moving as possible. But we want the opposite side that are like, how do we do something that's totally crazy, and how do we bring that to life mainly? So that's where a lot of like the agency side comes, because we do a lot of the ideation and we help build instead of just saying, okay, here's your PO, we just need you for production. We can do that all day long, but a lot of people are like, well, you guys have a really creative team. You're trying to shake it up, do things differently. So we're trying to like bring that vibe, but also still be production facility if we need to.
I've seen some cool stuff, especially on your guys' Instagram, from Nike and like some significant, brands. What kind of, is this like very innovative stuff, or is it just helping them execute live printing, or like?
Well, we get bored very fast, and we don't like to repeat ourselves, so we try to do each activation like completely different. Mixing and matching, like live dye sublimation, and then we're actually right now at the Bella Canvas booth with a live print gun, where we are, we're just like coming up with all over prints and just doing whatever the customers ask us to do with a couple of approved locations. But we also could do complete custom. We just did the Chicago Marathon, where we just did 2,000 prints a day, every single one custom.
Real? With the gun?
With the gun.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Wait, personalized with with their name?
Yep.
So runners,
of whatever they want. What was it, 12 characters or something? Yeah. We reverse engineered the system and figured out how to program live direct into the gun without the need of internet or anything.
Really?
And
so you can
beams
quickly...
in, so you literally, the person comes, hands you the shirt, you put it on, hit the next button, next. We're doing more
do you guys
than
have
2
developers? Software developers?
You look at it. I mean, it wasn't like programming. It was like going in and figuring out 0, turn this to a 1.
Right.
That one didn't do it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's how I learned.
Yeah. You figure it out.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's super cool. Any other cool, mentionable projects that are unique like that?
We were doing, what was it, live vinyl, custom vinyl heat pressing onto shoes for Adidas.
Oh,
and
interesting.
It looks like it came right out of Adidas. Like, so someone could say, I wanted to say whatever the catchphrase was, and we just cut it out and you put it wherever you want. You can put it right across the toe, across the back, put across anywhere on there, and it sinks right into it. Amazing.
Everybody's
Super
just
cool.
getting wild, like live activation stuff, like experiential side, which is where people start to see that agency side of us, because they're like, all right, well, cool. Nike came in first, and they're like, we just need you for production. We can bang out high volume all day long, and then they're like, wait, you guys have some really cool ideas. Like, how do we partner with this, and how do we figure out something that helps us stand out, helps the consumers have a totally original experience, which is a lot of the Bella Canvas. Like, people are just walking.
Oh, yeah.
They come up and they're completely confused at first, and then they're walking away and they're like, I don't even really know what happened. And that just, whoever we're partnering with, they walk away from that and they're like, they're pushing the limits, Rowboat's pushing the limits. Like, how do we just keep that on?
That's awesome.
Yeah, the gun is crazy. You should just get a camera shot of everyone's face. It's stunned.
A couple of those videos went viral on Facebook of the gun. And
we went somewhere. We were walking through one of these shows like this, and someone's like, "Those are the guys with the guns." Hey.
Security's like, what'd you say?
Yeah, exactly. We were flying with them, and they're like, let's just call it a printing.
Yes.
The hand jet. Do not say gun.
That's awesome. Switching gears a little bit, last year, 2018, what would you say is your biggest challenge?
think just finding the specific lane that we want to be in. So everybody, we could play the contract printing side of it. I mean, we do that all day long, but I think that it's finding strategic partners that are either developing the same way that you are, have the same mentality, and also the same respect on the other side, instead of just being a shop that is just beaten down by price and saying, hey, they're going to do it 5 cents cheaper, they're going to do it 3 cents cheaper, then that's fine at a certain point, but you're all just racing to the bottom. So it's about, like, for us, just figuring out who we kind of strategically go after, and not being, you know, this kind of exclusive agencies and saying we don't work with you, but at the same time, sometimes it doesn't work, and sometimes it's not the best partnership, not to just, you know, be rude about it and say that we don't want you, but sometimes it's just about figuring that out instead of having to bite the bullet every single time. Someone wants it cheaper, someone wants it cheaper. Yeah. So I think that's just like calculated growth of trying to figure out our lane, trying to figure out who we want as our team, and making sure that we're not growing to, you know, growth is great, but having a team of 1,000 people at a certain point, like, do you want to be able to manage that? Do you necessarily need that? A lot of people are focused on, we have 800 people, we run 3 shifts, 24 hours a day, and what does that really mean at the end? You know,
like, is that the company you want to grow
right,
into?
exactly.
Sure.
And I think, and these days, and especially just like the marketing agencies that we do work with, a lot of them, the big swing away from the huge agencies that are, you know, 1,000 people deep, and you have reps that are kind of just there day in and day out. They don't really care, and they want these smaller, you know, opportunities to work with micro influencers and micro companies that have the care to be able to give it. When someone calls you, has a problem with you, you probably answer the phone. A lot of the other agencies that are like,
it's just like quality. Which is, I mean, it's such a foundational aspect for, I feel like, a shop that's one person up to scaling. And few companies, it almost feels like customer service tends to turn into a cost once they get at a certain size instead of still an asset. I mean, Apple's probably still a good example of, like, they go in, no questions asked, you get a brand new phone if yours has an issue.
One of our friends had a laptop that was 10 years old. He wrote Apple, and no joke, Steve Jobs wrote back to him. And they sent him a brand new laptop, even though it was out of care. So, I mean, he was answering personal tech support stuff.
That's awesome.
And I mean, and you know, we started as, you know, like, we're artists. We started learning this, you know, just for the art of it. So, like, being able to scale to high volume, but still keep what we still love to be a thing, that, I mean, that's one of our challenges for 2018, because, I mean, our growth has been great, but we don't want to just grow just to grow. We want to grow Rowboat as Rowboat always has been.
Do you guys feel like you solved that? Like, you know what types of clients you want to go after now, or are you still figuring it out?
I think so. I think a lot of it too is just we understand, like, who we don't want to be and what we don't want to evolve to. And I think if we lose, you know, there's a million facilities, there's a million screen printers, a million embroiderers.
How'd you figure, like, was it a brainstorm session just saying, here's our mission? Or, like,
I think a lot of it was just numbers. I mean, we looked at the numbers of 2017 versus 2018, and we did better in 2018 almost without the volume, because we were doing less of the hectic, you know, huge volume contract work and focusing on the stuff that made sense for everybody, where we could build it from the ground up instead of just being beaten down by somebody and saying, I need 50,000 units and you got to do it at 5 cents a print. So a lot of it was just, you know, where are we, who are we supposed to be, and, like, if we lose that touch of being able to focus with the same care on the person who needs 24 pieces as that person who needs 10,000 pieces. Like, if we lose that, then I think you're starting to lose what it is, and you turn into the machine that is only just like, give me your PO, give me your production, it moves. You don't have any kind of touch points at that point. I don't know, that's just...
For sure.
And to be honest, I mean, some of these 24-piece orders, some of our biggest clients now came to us with tiny, tiny orders.
And they grew.
And then they kept coming, and you know, we worked together. We could either be, you know, like, hiding behind the bushes just doing the stuff, or we could, you know, we brainstorm together. And, you know, we've seen so many little companies grow with us that you never know whoever you're going to be rude to when they want one DTG shirt, that person could be the next Adidas or Nike. You never know. So, and, you know, that's how we felt we were getting treated when we first started, so we understand.
From your perspective, do you feel like that was your biggest challenge at Rowboat, or something different?
For the part that of the business that I run, I think that was my biggest. Because Luke and I, we do different sides. He's mostly sales, and I'm like production stuff. But trying to keep Rowboat the way we started, but scale it, but not go overboard. That's a tough one.
So just to help people get a sense of size, where are you guys at, maybe people-wise, numbers-wise?
We moved into a new location. It's coming up on 2 years ago. I think we were at 8,000 square feet at the last place. We jumped to 60,000 square feet.
That's
and
huge.
We've more than, I think, at least tripled the number of employees that we've had.
Gotcha.
I think part of that, just to go back to your other question of figuring out what the problem was of not scaling up to the point where we're also just killing our employees, because a lot of the time, cool, sales could go out there and you could kill it and say, I'm bringing everybody. I got a 1 million piece run for Drake and Britney Spears, but at a certain point, everybody's going to get burned out. And I think our biggest thing, and especially being on the front lines of, okay, how do I push this? How do I, attack sales? But how do we protect the house? Look, we don't need everybody to leave. We don't want this to feel like it's a prison and it's just a production line and it's a sweatshop. And a lot of the time, facilities can feel that way because it is production line. But
and you actually guys do, I feel like, a really good job of maintaining the culture like that. I mean, I follow along on Instagram too. It seems like you have some really cool meetings. You got couches in the space and stuff. Any other tips for other shops to help make maybe production feel less repetitive and more of a fun environment?
Well, Luke and I started this in my basement, and we were the ones doing every single part of it. What I do is I remember how hard everything is and how horrible meeting deadlines and being super careful. And in the end, the product has to be what's up to par for us. We don't sit there, with the whip and making everyone insane. We understand because we've been there. So you got some spoilage. That's a good chance to, it's a good time to figure out why did that happen. Let's put our brains together. It's not, that's coming off your check and this kind of nonsense. And most of the time, he talks about running our employees to death. I have to stand there with them. It's running me to death too. So I always try to put myself in their shoes, and I feel like we're a big happy family, and we try to hire artists that we feel are like us, and you don't want to work those people to death. Everyone needs an outside life.
So would you say it's like good work-life balance of 8 hours max, and or like very, I guess, so 8 hours or so. Are there other specific things too that you do to help encourage that?
For last year, since we had such crazy growth, I mean, you don't just find awesome printers. You don't just go to Craigslist and they're all just on there.
So as much as we would love for that,
as much as that'd be amazing
for everybody.
We were running. Everyone was. We are so lucky that our employees treat the company like it's their own. I'll be like, guys, go home. I'll finish, and they're like, no. They'll stay. Doubles, triples, which we realized they're here because they love what they do and they love the atmosphere. But we really tried to, by strategically picking our customers and not giving crazy due dates and all that, we were able to space things out where we could all have our outside lives, which a lot of times we still just all hang out together, but we're pretty far away from the shop.
Are there other things you feel like you do too to help, I don't know, team lunches or outings or meetings or
I think it's about
appreciation stuff or
creating a family, and it's not a lifestyle, but I hate the idea of how do you get in place and buy into what that is. Look at a Whole Foods or Patagonia. People, they're so into that brand and that belief and that philosophy that I think there's a lot of I'm just reading the book with the CEO of Patagonia, and it's unbelievable because
let them surf
let my people go surfing, and it's so focused on. You could be so caught up in all the numbers, all the bottom lines and all that, and all your perceived growth and however the world sees you, but at the end of the day, that is your family. And if those people don't, you can go out and kill it in sales, but if you don't have a network that is I believe in this and we're all pushing forward to the same thing, then it doesn't really mean anything. So I think that creating that sense of what that, I mean, that for 2019, that's been even more of a goal. Like, who are we? Who do people perceive us as? Just as you said, like, you guys are kind of an agency. I mean, we had a meeting last week, and like, what do people see us as? Do they see us as a contract printer? Do they see us as an agency? Do they see it? And we like that ambiguity, but I think somewhere you figure out, like, at the end of the day, everybody internally should be able to know that we want to be the best at
Makes
this,
sense.
and here's exactly what we're doing.
So, one piece of advice from each of you guys of like really specific, something that a shop just starting to hire, they got 5, 10 or so people, what to be able to create that very tight-knit culture, what would you say? You're up first.
So, we every morning, one thing that I felt really that turned it around for us from not being a nightmare, you know, walk into, you know,
Sweatshop.
stop, sweatshop. We have a Monday morning meeting, and what we did was every Monday morning, you would have an employee. Yeah, an employee was assigned for the Monday morning meeting to do 5 minutes. The first time we did, it was called the 5 minutes of power, and you could come up and do whatever you wanted for 5 minutes, and you know, then it's not, okay, guys, we got this job coming up. It's this many pieces. What do you got going on in embroidery? It's starts like with a little party. Then you break the ice, and then you go into business. But the last one we did was adult show and tell. So we want our employees to bring something in that tells everyone else something that we wouldn't know about them.
Oh, cool.
And we had like
They took it and ran with it, which
yeah,
is like, that was the point.
It was
That's
amazing.
awesome.
No rules, like, do whatever you want to do.
We found out that someone was a karate expert as a child, and we had what else? Artists come, people come and play their music from their bands, and all sorts of stuff that you like. Oh my gosh, I would never guess that you do that. Well, yeah, because you see me at the press all day. I'm not sitting around.
To help like blend personal with work.
Exactly, exactly. Like, you see people as humans, not just the robot at the machine.
Sure, that's awesome.
I think if you
I like
create
that.
that vibe, if you focus on who you want to be as a company, and also knowing all sides of it. I mean, that's like, we're in the trenches, and I think that also helps with the philosophy and the mission, because it's not like you're some high-level executive that is just out doing what, you know, I'm only there one time every 3 months. I mean, we're there sometimes longer than everybody, and it doesn't matter. It's not about counting those hours. It's just about, we're all in it together. It doesn't matter what your title is or any of that nonsense. It's like, we're in it here. We're all creatives. All we're trying to do is push not only the industry forward, what we're all doing in our personal lives. We're all supportive of that, and I think that's like the one key. I'd probably say that, like, focus internally on what you want to do. Don't, be focused on sales, but don't worry about if you're so focused on the numbers, so many people, you could have amazing years, but the next year you could be gone because everybody
It's
doesn't
funny,
care.
I can't remember who said it, maybe it was at our conference, but somebody said, you know, it was Justin at Oklahoma Shirt Company. He's like, you could literally, he's like, I sent everybody home just on Thursday. He's like, don't come in on Friday. Like, and the reason is that I realized I create the company that I want, you know, and we tend to follow more of like these acceptable guidelines of what a company is, and you're the boss and you're supposed to do this and this, but it's literally like you dictate what is followed and like the guidelines and everything.
And
so
you forget that.
Yeah, you do. Right.
We do our day to day. We don't realize that people depend on us to come up with what to do, when to do it, the rules.
Sure.
And we lose touch with that. But I mean, I feel like by being in the trenches with everyone, you're more understanding. Yeah. It's not, why doesn't it work? Okay, get behind the press and you tell me how you're going to do it. Right. Then you realize
100%.
You have to be tied in and sympathetic to the nightmare that custom printing is.
For sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this is Rowboat Creative. This has been great. Thank you guys so much for the time.
Sure. Yeah,
I know
absolutely.
Bella's gonna just yank you back. Get back in the booth.
No, we'll bring him over here. We'll do some secret print stuff.
Secret shirt launches. Awesome. Thank you guys.
Yeah, for
Thanks
sure.
for having us.
Absolutely.
Sweet. Yeah, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure, man.
Are you guys staying for the whole time?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we're here
Okay.